The richest county in America is the one right outside of Washington, D.C., where not just the lobbyists, but also the defense contractors live, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, and what do? They give to both parties, keep that system going.
So let me ask you, Cenk, how does voting for Hillary Clinton fix that?
See, I think that if Hillary Clinton wins, that she will finally reveal the liberal... See, I don't know, Jimmy, I don't know if you know this, but when she was 23, she worked for the children.
Oh my God, she helped kids in 1973.
So I'm voting Clinton 73. Okay, no, of course it doesn't help it, and I'm going to fight her from day one. I'm ready to primary her right now. Okay, so that's like, look, we lost that battle. So that doesn't mean that it's a like that you give up or it's over. You find other ways to win more battles, so we win the war, right? But we wanted Bernie. We desperately wanted him. Everybody that watches the Young Turks knows that, right? I spoke for him. I did everything I could, and we lost. So now, if you vote for someone, and that to me does not mean I love them, I support them, I endorse them. They're going to fix everything. They're going to fix anything. It just means of those two choices, one is better than the other. Now, you say there aren't two choices, and that's perfectly fair, right? And so...
Well, I kind of agree with you, what you're saying, but I have a different interpretation of that. So my thinking is this. Whether it's Trump or Hillary who's president, we being TYT and other progressives in this country, we have to fight like absolute hell. We have to fight like hell with either candidate to stop the madness and to instill some freedom, democracy, liberty, and justice and equality of opportunity everywhere, right? So we have to fight, no matter which one it is. Now, if your calculation is that, well, with Trump, we have to fight harder, it's a harder fight, and with Hillary, it's a slightly easier fight, and therefore you're going to vote for Hillary. That's a rational choice. I get that choice. And for people who are voting for Hillary, I don't hate them. It's a rational choice. At the same time, to me, I don't give a shit, okay? Because to me, they're so similar, I don't really care. So I'm going to vote for Joe Stein in California because it doesn't matter. I want third-party candidates to have as many votes as possible so that they start to have momentum. And whether it's Clinton or Trump, I'm going to fight like hell to make sure that our progressive causes are furthered.
So, can I just say the best argument there in my mind is...
this is my show.
So, no, you win that.
No, but you were going to say something good about my point, so go ahead.
But I wanted to say, right now, Cenk, it illustrates my point. Because I say, if Hillary Clinton is president, she splits the natural opposition to horrible right-wing policies. Right now, it's happening with Barack Obama. Barack Obama is the Democrat, he's the liberal, and he's pushing as hard as he's ever pushed for anything for the TPP. And so what does that do? That splits the natural opposition to the TPP. So now you got a lot of Democrats going, well, my fucking president says it's okay, so I'm going along with it. So that means that gives them cover for their donors. And everybody thinks Barack Obama, he's this liberal, which he isn't. So right now we're experiencing what Clinton's presidency is going to be like. What Barack Obama is doing right now is going to be 4 years of Hillary Clinton pushing right-wing policies and splitting the natural opposition. Now, if Trump is president, the natural opposition coalesces. We have all the Democrats together, we have all the independents, and purple state Republicans. And that's what we're going to have for 2 years. And then in 2 years, the House and the Senate flips. We have Democratic majorities in the House, and then in 2 more years, we get a real frickin' progressive after we get rid of Trump. But if Hillary is president, it goes solid Republican Senate and House forever. And then she's going to lose in 4 years, and then we're fucked. So I say, you talk about losing the battle but winning the war. That's losing the battle but winning the war.
Okay, so here's how I counter you guys. Oh yeah, what about Trump? Okay, no, seriously. First, let me address what I think were really good points by you guys. So, Steve, voting for Jill Stein, if you agree with her more in a blue or solidly red state, gives the third parties more strength. It's a really good argument because you want more voices, you want that to be strengthened, and if you think it's not going to decide the election, then it's kind of a free vote for alternative voices. So, especially if you agree with her more. So I think that's the best argument for voting third party, and if you're really progressive, voting for Jill Stein. Jimmy, I think your best argument is, okay, well, if Hillary's president, well, 4 years from now, well, that makes it more likely that we're going to have a Republican beat her instead of a progressive beating her. So now we get Hillary Clinton, who's very conservative, then probably replaced by an even more conservative Republican. Now we've lost 8 years and maybe even more.
Right? Yes.
So that is why I plan on fighting her from day one. And so I'm not going to. You think I'm going to make the same mistake that everybody fucking makes? Is, oh no, let's trust our Democratic president. And I'm sure that, don't fight her. That saps her strength. No, fuck no. We are going to push her so hard like no Democratic president's ever been pushed. But from day one, I'm going to put out the note that a Republican is not going to beat her in 2020. It's going to be a progressive who beats her in the primary. Oh, you can't primary a sitting president. Says who?
Ted Kennedy did it. Ted Kennedy did it.
Yeah, and that's your rule? That's because you're the fucking establishment. Of course you want to do that rule. I don't give a fuck about your rule. Here's my rule. Yes, we are very, 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 very likely to primary her. Okay? Because you know why? Because we're right. She's not that progressive. Now, if it turns out we're wrong, and she gets a fucking constitutional amendment passed, I'll go work for her. Okay? You see what I'm saying? If she really kills the TPP, and she brings back Glass-Steagall, and she gets $15 minimum wage,
of course.
Are you kidding me? We wouldn't vote for her. We'd work for her.
But she's not going to do anything.
But she's not going to do that, and when she doesn't, we're going to come for her. Okay? So, just because you lose this battle, in my way of thinking, doesn't mean you lost the war. The war's just starting. So, that's my sense of it. Now, I think you guys would have had a much, much, much better case if it was Hillary Clinton versus, let's say, a Rubio. There, the difference is, now we're really arguing shades, right? So, yeah, everybody's always going to throw the Supreme Court at you, but now here we are with Obama appointing a guy who's pro-Citizens United, at least in his rulings. They say, no, don't believe what he says. Then they turn around and say, believe what Trump says.
Yes!
Right? Because Merrick Garland ruled in favor of actually strengthening Citizens United. Okay, but they say, no, he had to because of precedent. Maybe not. I don't really want to take that chance, right? So I hear you. And so Rubio and Clinton would have been, and by the way, Rubio would have done the same things. He would have said no on TPP. He would have said yes on TPP when he was president, right? Oh, I disagree with Hillary Clinton on this. And he wouldn't have killed the Paris Climate Treaty, right? He wouldn't have. He would have huffed and puffed about how global warming is a hoax. But he would have largely kept the climate treaty. So your argument would have been fantastic against another establishment Republican. As it stands, I think the establishment accidentally, because they really were not for Trump, they really were. Okay? They accidentally lucked into a better option. Trump is such a monster that it's not as much of a shade of difference. It's a real difference.
Is it really? I mean, I know the things that come out of his mouth sound uglier. They're more vulgar. But is he really any worse than his running mate Mike Pence, who speaks with a softer voice and has more polite words? But his politics are hideous and disgusting. And other than Trump's bombast, I don't really see a huge difference between him and all the other Republicans that have been running all these years. I mean, it's the same nonsense.
I gotta agree with you, Steve, because yes, Donald Trump appears worse because he's such an asshole, right? But he isn't yet a war criminal. He hasn't yet voted to invade another country illegally. He hasn't yet decided not to prosecute torturers, which is why he can stand on stage and say he's going to torture people, because our lefty president didn't prosecute the people who committed war crimes in our own fucking country. And now, you know what that means? It's guaranteed to happen again. I've made this observation that this is the first time I can remember. That I've ever seen people blaming voters for horrible election outcomes. Meaning, Like when Nixon beat McGovern, nobody went, "Oh God, those stupid voters." McGovern was great. No, they invented super delegates so a guy like McGovern could never fucking win again. That's what they did. You know, even when people go, what about Ralph Nader? No, people blamed Ralph Nader for Al Gore. They didn't blame the electorate. They blamed Ralph Nader. Nobody says, "Oh my God, why didn't people vote for Dukakis?" No one ever says that. So this is the first time I've ever seen this happen. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jake. Maybe you can remember a time when it did happen. But this is the first time I've ever seen somebody go, "It's the voters. You're going to work. If Trump is our president, it's your fault." No, it's Hillary Clinton's fault. Because if she needs my vote, she has to come get it. And if she doesn't come get my vote, that's her fucking fault. If she thinks Jill Stein is going to hurt her in the polls, she needs to come after environmentalists and say, "Guess what? I accept the science on climate change. I also accept the science on fracking," but she won't say that, right? Because she doesn't give a shit about environmental votes. Right now she's going after Mitt Romney's fucking donors.
Yeah, but she's in favor of safe fracking.
Safe fracking.
That's literally what she said.
Yeah. It's like safe unprotected sex. There's no such thing. It's an oxymoron. There's no such thing as safe fracking.
That's right. That's why I always say go for clean coal.
What first they do is they take that lump of coal and then they wash it.
That's super clean.
And then they burn it, right? Did you ever take a lump of shit and then you wash it a little?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a huge advocate of clean turd.
Clean turds.
Clean turd all the way.
I've been pushing for it at my house.
I've been pushing it out for a long time.
But people do say that was a really clean shit. They do say that.
They do all the time.
Yeah, I was up on the roof. I didn't even see something come through the stink pipe. Nothing. It was.
Yeah. So I could make counter arguments to what you and Steve said, but I think I'm allowed on this.
You get kicked off the show.
That's right.
And now people also say that I've had it said to me today that, "Oh, well, you're white and you're rich and you're."
Okay, I can assure you, Jimmy's not rich.
You're barely white.
And thank you.
No, he's totally white.
I'm Irish. We were the blacks of Europe. Come on,
Irish is as white as it gets.
I'm black Irish.
Come on. No, you're white Irish.
My wife is 100% Mexican. That doesn't mean anything.
No, you get a half community idol for that.
When you fight with your wife, do you build a little wall around her?
I threaten. I'm going to build a wall, and all of a sudden I get my neighbors to chant, "Build that wall."
I usually have the opposite problem. My wife builds the wall, and she's like, "No."
Well, your wife comes from a culture where they build great walls.
That's true.
Oh! Talk about building walls.
Yeah, the Chinese should be totally in favor of Trump.
And they're gonna make the Mongols pay for it. But my wife, one time, honest to God, we were going out to shop. We were going to Nordstrom's, right? And for something specific, and we're walking out the house, and she has a poncho on.
Really?
Yeah. I go, "What the fuck are you doing with a poncho?" She goes, "My mom gave it to me." I go, "You can't wear a poncho. You're Mexican." Right? And she goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "We're going to go to Nordstrom's. They're going to see you walking with me." They go, "Oh, but that guy's bringing the one who works for him out to Nordstrom." I'm like, "You can't do it." Right?
Wow, that's interesting. What did she say?
She didn't wear it.
Oh, really?
I don't remember how. I bet you she did.
You know, that's funny you say that because the one guy I know who wears a poncho is not Mexican.
There you go.
Dave Kohler. I'm not kidding. Dave Kohler wore a poncho for like decades. Yeah, because he got a real honest to goodness one from, I don't know, I forget if it was from Mexico or Bolivia. And it was like, for him, what do you mean? Like, it's the best jacket. That's what he would wear. Why are you guys wearing that?
It was also really cheap. So
Clint Eastwood wore one in Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's telling everybody to just get over it.
And Jimmy, again, my wife did the same thing you did. I was going to go out to the mall with her in a fez.
For some reason, the thought of you in a fez is awesome. You should wear a fez for like Halloween or something.
But what's even better is like the picture of him wearing a fez, speaking seriously.
No, but Jake's head is so large, you wear a fez, it looks like a yarmulke.
Jake, why are you wearing a shot glass on your head?
So, but you can't wear a fez and not have a mustache. So I'd have to grow a mustache and then wear a fez. But you're right. I love the idea of like seriously doing the Young Turks. Like, all right, we're back on the Young Turks. Let me tell you about TPP. But I got the mustache, I got the fez on. Welcome to the Aggressive Progressive Washington.
Maybe it's time to freak out.
Okay, so I am an interloper on this show, and I am
Not welcome here.
I know, right? So Jimmy Dore and Steve Oh, for the purpose of this show, are the aggressive progressives. They will be continuing the revolution for you guys.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay. And I'm here to make sure they don't say anything crazy. Kidding. They're allowed to
I got some Second Amendment remedies for you.
Wait. First of all,
Who's wearing regular
not
clothes?
allowed on this show.
Who's wearing regular clothes and who's wearing the suit?
Oh.
This guy, the suit.
Yeah, the corporate guy.
Look at the corporate guy.
Yeah. All right.
Does he got cufflinks on?
Yeah. Pop some cufflinks for you guys.
Pop some candy.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to make sure that this show is not out of control. Remember, we're going to vote for Hillary. I'm kidding.
Incremental change, one step at a time.
That's right. You know, because I heard that you're supposed to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism.
Right.
That drug is great. Like that, it's legal now in California. So
all right. Seriously, like kidding aside, we want to do the show because there are other issues that Jimmy and I really feel passionately about that we think are not covered on the main show that you do every day. And look, God bless, you're doing a daily show. It's election season. I get it. But you know what? I also get. Yeah. Trump, he's bad. I know. Holy shit, he said something crazy. Okay. I don't care to know about every single nuance of that. There are other things that I find fascinating that are happening in the world. One of which is arms dealing. Okay, so we'll get to that later. But sorry, did I steal your tease?
yeah, no. God bless.
But anyway, yeah. So that's the thing, and I get it. I mean, there is a whole school of thought on Trump and Hillary are the front runners, so you want to cover that. I get it, but I don't want to hear that. I want to hear other things that you want to talk about.
Well, you're not alone, Steve. That's why we're doing this show. So, I'm in the camp of Mussolini's running for president. I got to cover that guy, right? But there's another camp that wants this show, which says, let's be done with that son of a bitch and talk about real stuff. So, the way that this is going to work, and we're running out of time here, so we got to get going on the substance, is we're going to do a whole bunch of stories for you guys. Like I said, this will be the only one I'm on, and then Jimmy and Steve will take it from here. Jimmy and Jordan did one that's already for members, so you should definitely check that out. That's really interesting. And this first segment's free every time. It starts at 6:00 on Thursdays every time. The first segment's always free and live to everybody, and then the rest is for members because members make the entire network possible. Because if we don't have membership, we don't have this show, and we don't have any show. So thank you, members, for doing that. tytnetwork.com/join. We'll do a couple of stories now, and then afterwards, later in the program, like Steve said, who's the biggest arms dealer in the world? You might not be surprised by that, but obviously the ramifications. Who are the countries who buy the most amount of arms? Okay, and then I've got a couple of stories as well, which we'll do a little bit later, including is Hillary Clinton hurting the entire Democratic Party with the way she's running her campaign? So that's a really interesting story about her strategy and why it might hurt other Democrats and progressives. So we'll do that later. But first, Jimmy, what do you
And as soon as we go switch off the live feed, we're going to find out what Jenk's secret is and what the fuck's been going on lately and why.
Shish! Okay.
Maybe somebody got a promise from the Clinton campaign. And anyway. Corporate cash. Here we go. I just want to say this because this is things that have been happening in the last few weeks that mainstream news really isn't covering. And this is going to be very brief. I just want to read this to you. I wrote this, and so here we go. Because progressives, guess what? Oh, is this my camera? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong camera. What am I, Michelle Bachmann over here? And so progressives are taking over. There were great victories at the ballot box in just the last few weeks. For instance, all the candidates endorsed by Bernie Sanders won their primaries. Keith Ellison in Minnesota, Russ Feingold in Wisconsin, Chris Pearson and David Zuckerman in Vermont. The The week before that, Pramila Jayapal in Washington. And before that, Zephyr Teachout in New York City. All of these candidates don't take super PAC. Look at that. They espouse progressive values, and guess what? They're winning. When you're taking money, fighting for the 1%, you have to buy lots of ads showing you smiling and kissing babies. But when you fight for the people, you don't need to do that because the people will fight for you, just like we did for Bernie. It doesn't matter if Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump is in the White House. We will need a progressive army in Congress. Our country needs a battalion of Bernie Sanderses to prevent the next Iraq and the next TPP. We need to make sure we're supporting our local progressives in all office races. I say the establishment. If you can't join them, let's fucking beat them.
Goddamn right, Jimmy Dore. There you go. There's an aggressive progressive for you.
It's a slow clap for you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Better than a fast clap.
What if 30,000 people download the new app?
We're good.
5 million.
Good. We scale on demand.
What if 30 million people download the app?
We're total heroes.
Scale on demand with the #1 company in cloud infrastructure.
Now, I don't know about you, but I know Steve and I are both sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, you're voting for Jill Stein. It's white privilege. Oh, you're so selfish. You're so self-centered. Why don't you grow up? Why don't you bite the bullet?" Right?
And they tell us that, yeah.
Yeah. And it's considered this white privilege lily. Oh, you don't have any problems. And
White heterosexual male privilege.
That's right. Straight white male privilege. Right. Well, guess what? There's a website called 34 Justice, and they say that privilege, many Jill Stein voters have it, and many Hillary Clinton voters do too. So they did it. This is by Ben Spielberg, which is Egan's cousin, and so I've got some quotes from this article. This is pretty interesting stuff. What you're always told is these are the kind of articles you see. Why this black Bernie Sanders delegate says he doesn't have the luxury of going Bernie or bust, right? That's the kind of articles that lefty news organizations have been writing, and that means they're not really left anymore, that they're in bed with power, and that they're embracing corporatism. That's what that says to me. And it's happened. It's not just Fox. It's almost every left-wing online news. It's weird to see it happen. And that's why we're doing the show, because that's even happening to the left. The left is getting corrupt. So here's what this article says. They say the status quo is serving many people poorly, proclaiming that because the alternative is worse, everyone must vote for Clinton, a politician who has championed policies that have actively harmed millions of people both here and around the world, is at its very best patronizing to those who are currently suffering. It's a promise of crumbs instead of a meal, with the admonition that starving people better be thankful for crumbs, as the other candidate might even take those away. This rationale plays on the fears of disadvantaged people and those who care about them in order to perpetuate current power dynamics. Its use is in many ways an expression of the very privilege it critiques. I'm going to read this again because this is really important. This rationale plays on the fears of disadvantaged people and those who care about them in order to perpetuate the current power dynamics. Its use is in many ways an expression of the very privilege it critiques.
I want to expound on that a bit more. So, it was a Democratic president who got rid of Glass-Steagall.
Yes, it takes a Democrat.
It was a Democratic president who ushered in an era of mass incarceration and private prisons. It was a Democratic president.
Wow, this is amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a Democratic president who wanted to cut Social Security and Medicare.
That was Barack Obama.
That's right. It's a Democratic president if it's Hillary Clinton, that's going to usher in this new era of where Democrats will embrace the rationale behind Citizens United.
Yes.
Okay. It is a Democratic president who has escalated drone
Democratic president.
So
The foreign policy right now is a continuation of Bush's policy.
Right.
We left Iraq on Bush's timetable, and guess what? We're back in. And we ramped up the war in Afghanistan. And we bombed 8 different Muslim countries since 9/11. And Barack, go ahead.
yeah, so I'm not very persuaded by the argument. Oh my God, but Trump, or oh my God, but the Republicans,
Right.
oh my God, the Supreme Court. Okay, I'm not persuaded by any of these arguments because we have to fight. It doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or a Republican. Progressives have to fight because we're the only ones who are fighting for the average American, for the ordinary American. And it is racist to stand, during a speech, point to the one black guy in your audience and say, "That's my African American." Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's racist. It's also racist to call a group of people super predators. And
Yes, kids.
yeah, it's also racist to embrace a policy that throws 2.2 million people in prison, most of them for non-violent crimes, and to decimate an entire generation of the black community where fathers are
Removed from the community.
Yeah.
And then when they're let back out, now they have a felony conviction, so they can't get jobs, and also they can't vote.
Yeah. So what happened under a Democratic president regime? I call it a regime. Is that it ushered in the mass incarceration and it allowed for the decimation of a community and it allowed for the police brutality to continue or perhaps even grow.
I'm going to show you the breakdown of the demographics for Jill Stein. So if you can see, it says here's the estimated voter. It's tough to get information on Jill Stein voters, right? But here's the best we can get. So if you see in the blue, that's Hillary Clinton supporters. The green are Jill Stein supporters, and the gray is all registered voters. So women, Hillary is edging out Jill by 2 percentage points, right? So 56% of her supporters are women, whereas 55% of Jill's supporters are women.
Just real quick, that's a difference of 1, not 2.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1%. Yeah,
I'm a math genius.
I'm not good. I'm not a math surgeon. I got through college without taking a math class. I actually got my degree. I did it. And so let's go back to this. Now, if you look middle-aged or younger, Jill's killing it with the middle-aged or young. So Hillary's got mostly older voters, whereas Jill's got the younger or middle-aged people, 70%, right? To Hillary's 42%. Now, people of color. Now, sure, yes, Hillary has more people of color, but Jill Stein has more than the representation in the country. She has 32% people of color. That's pretty good. Now, income under $50,000, Jill Stein does much better. So they're not privileged. Actually, 58% of the people supporting her make less than $50,000, whereas only 52% of the people supporting Hillary make less than $50,000. So Jill has a higher representation of people under $50,000. So that's not privilege. And then no college degree. Way more people with no college degree are supporting Jill Stein.
They would argue that that's because they're low information voters.
Yes.
Too stupid, and therefore they vote for Jill Stein.
So there you go. So all that stuff about you're white, you're privileged, it just goes to show you non-college age people, non-college educated people, women, and people of color, 30-some% for Jill Stein. So that idea that it's all white privileged guys, it's all bullshit. So here, let's go to this. So this is when we in the Green Party, here's the national co-chair. When we in the Green Party hear about spoiler candidates, it usually comes from people who believe that the Democratic Party is entitled to votes without actually doing the work of the people, especially people of color like me, the LGBTQ, well, that's a lot of letters.
A lot of letters.
Community, and students and others. We are expected to faithfully fall in line without any perceivable return on investment. Those of us who live outside of privileged circles know that voting for either lobe of the corporate party brings us more of the same. Massive student debt, low-paying jobs, more deportations, more wars for oil, more destruction of the environment, more police militarization, and even more waffling over the safety and security of the LGBTQ community on the job or at home, or most notably, the safety of transgender youth or of color anywhere.
She nailed it. That's exactly right.
She nailed it. So she's saying that oh, you think that we owe you your vote? We don't, this is what I've been saying. We don't owe our vote to Hillary Clinton because of Trump or anything else. You want our vote? You have to come get our vote. And how do you come get our vote? With policies that help these people. With policies that promise no more wars for oil. That help student debt. That help get better paying jobs. That stop the mass deportations. That stop the militarization of the police departments. That stop the destruction of our environment. Hillary will not commit to stop destroying our environment. She's destroying it. She's fracking 100% for it. So that's why you don't owe your vote to them. You can't do that. People know that it's more of the same. And the people who can't afford more of the same, guess who they are? They're the people who aren't privileged.
It wasn't just Chris Hayes, it was the entire establishment. It was many, many people that basically said Susan Sarandon is nuts. And what is wrong with her? She, as a woman, should understand the trials and tribulations that Hillary Clinton went through, and how can you not vote for her? And to equate Hillary with Trump is insanity. And they basically dismissed Susan as being a crazy person.
Yes. Yeah, it was. There was a couple of weeks there for sure when she's nuts, she's crazy.
And let's recount why they dismissed Susan Sarandon. Because Susan said that Hillary Clinton is, she's a neocon, that she's pro-war, and that she has pursued a policy of destabilization and regime change after Henry Kissinger's, long-standing policy on foreign affairs, and that is a terrible thing for the world and for the U.S., and that Hillary Clinton takes way too much money from various special interests, and that she's basically a compromise bought politician. So for these comments, Susan Sarandon was derided as being a crazy person. Crazy Susan, mouthing off again. And yeah, so now what are they saying?
So now, and by the way, I was also, we talked about it on the show with Cenk and the main show, about the people who anytime you criticize them, they would call you sexist, or they would say, oh, you're Bernie bros, and Mossad. It was all the smearing of real progressives that drove me crazy. Hey, it's okay if you're going to vote out of fear. It's okay that you vote for Hillary Clinton because you're a fraidy cat, or that you're just blind to what's happening to the Democratic Party, or you're just a corporatist by nature, or you're kind of really a neocon anyway, but you're cool with the board. So if you're going to vote for Hillary, that's one thing. Not okay to smear a progressive when he comes along. And that's what I didn't like. And not only did they smear Bernie, but they smear Bernie's supporters, right? Which is the same thing they're doing to Jill Stein right now, okay? So they're really afraid, right? But now that Hillary is for sure the nominee and Bernie has endorsed her, now, all of a sudden, those same people who wagged their finger at us and called us misogynists and called us sexist and called us crazy and nuts, now all those people are upset with Hillary too. I'll show you right now. I'm watching Chris Hayes, and he's got a panel with Joan Walsh, Sam Cedar, and two other people I don't even know who they are. They're all supposed to be good liberals, and let's just listen to a little bit.
Yeah, at one level, right, we're trying to win, you want as many people as possible. At another level, there is this move among the most hawkish neoconservative elements of the conservative foreign policy community, the Max Boots, the folks who were Robert Kagan, now John Negroponte, whose history in South America is just
enabling the death squads all over Central America.
Literally enabling death squads.
Yeah, he's a horrible person.
How should Clinton supporters, liberals, war skeptics feel about that?
I think people should speak out. I mean, the thing that Charlie Pierce, the point he made, is that they sent out a statement about it. There are two different things going on here. It's a free country. Anyone who wants to endorse her is free to endorse her.
It's a unilateral thing, right? You can't control.
That letter, 50 national security experts, the Times writes about it. It's positive for some people, negative for others. When the campaign chooses to send out a statement which touts the endorsement of someone like John Negroponte, I think the left is right to scream about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Now it's okay. Now Joan Walsh says it's okay for us to scream about it. Now it's okay for us to scream. Now it's okay. Now it's okay.
She says we should speak out about it.
Now Joan Walsh has decided that it's okay for other liberals to criticize. I was so worried we were never going to get permission. I was so worried that she was going to keep her head so far up her ass that we were never going to be allowed to criticize her. Thank God she yanked her head out of her ass long enough to realize that the person she's endorsing and has been endorsing full-throated is a frickin' warmonger who hangs around with war criminals and brags about it. Let's go see if there's a little bit more to this.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, right? I mean, she's come from the State Department. There should be people on her staff who say, John Negroponte.
Exactly.
Is this a guy who are there suburban women that are thinking, I'm not going to vote for
There's the Negroponte endorsement.
I think you've got to weigh these things. Yeah. I mean, frankly, the thing that I think there's a danger for Clinton here is that Clinton did not exactly distinguish herself in the wake of the 2009 Honduras coup either, frankly. And so with a guy like John Negroponte, it's very hard not to make that type of connection. Right. They should get on the ball. This is an unforced error at best for them.
Yeah, and Sam Cedar is correct, and I do not lump Sam in with the rest of the people sitting there because Sam has been consistent. He has been one of the guys saying, I'm holding my nose. He hasn't been smearing progressives. But he's right. He said it's an unforced error, this John Negroponte thing. You know what else is an unforced error? You know what else is an unforced error? Fracking, the Iraq War, Libya, Honduras, Glass-Steagall. You know what else is an unforced error? Picking Hillary Clinton as our nominee. That is also an unforced error. Her whole frickin' career is an unforced error. Not being on board for gay marriage until 2 minutes ago. That's also an unforced error. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so there's this deep-seated hypocrisy that's very frustrating because these are the same people who said that any criticism of Hillary is sexist and wrong and we're crazy. And, what Joan is saying right now is along the same lines as what Susan Sarandon said.
Exactly.
Yeah, that Hillary is surrounding herself with basically, the most hawkish elements of our government.
I think there's a deeper question, right? I mean, which is that the sort of what the foreign policy direction of this all look like. I mean, when you look at domestic policy, those stakes are so nailed in the ground in some ways, right? I mean, like just the composition of what Congress will be, the Senate, the House, the platform, the promises, the constituency groups, all that stuff is sort of there holding it together, right? She can't suddenly be like, I'm going to build a wall.
And it's what she believes. It's what I believe she believes. So it's not a stretch for her.
Foreign policy is Russia invades Ukraine tomorrow, on day one of the presidency.
Right.
That's when the president is at its most powerful, and who knows?
And I don't know if you realize what Chris Hayes just said. He just said, when it comes to domestic policy, there's so many entrenched groups, it's hard to move things. It's hard to make things happen domestically. But foreign policy, Hillary Clinton has carte blanche to do whatever she wants. And if Russia invades the Ukraine, did you see him? He goes, yes, that's what we've been saying. That's what half the Democratic Party has been screaming at the top of their lungs since last summer. And you know what you guys did? Yeah, sexist, misogynist, she's great, blah, blah, Bernie's the pie in the sky, blah, blah, blah. Trump. All that BS. And by the way, you also, all through the primary, was like, oh, no, she's been tested. 30 years, they've been coming at her. Bernie's the one, as soon as they call him a socialist, he's going to crumble. And here they are now going, oh my God, she's so horrible. She could start World War III. What the hell's going wrong? She's listening to guys like John Negroponte, guys who set up death squads in South America. This is who she's hanging out with. It gets better.
No, hold on. Before we go there, not only is she hanging out with Negroponte, not only is she hanging out with Henry Kissinger, but she brags about it. It is a point of great pride for her that she has endorsements of these people because Negroponte and Kissinger are not names that you want to toss out necessarily to get the average voter to vote for you. So she's doing this on purpose. Yes, this is a calculated move on the part of Hillary Clinton and her team. They want to send a message to basically to the right. I'm with you guys.
Yes,
I'm with you guys. You can trust me. I will keep the war machine going. It's never going to stop. Not on my watch to stop because I follow the leadership of Negroponte and Kissinger. So that's what you have, and that's the reason why progressives like us are so upset by it. And let me just say one more thing. The reason why I've become more anti-Hillary over the last 6 months than I was before is actually because of Hillary supporters.
Yes.
Okay? It's not even because of Hillary Clinton, because I know where she stands.
Right.
She stands wherever the money is.
Yes.
Okay? She stands wherever the power is. But it's the failure and inability of Hillary Clinton supporters to call her out on anything that makes me worry about her becoming our president, because
they'll let her be horrible.
Right, because whether it's Glass freaking Steagall, okay? Glass-Steagall, which has been basically the bastion of our economic and banking regulatory mechanism, has been destroyed. And Hillary Clinton saying, I mean, her defense of not bringing back Glass-Steagall is absurd.
It's laughable.
It's ridiculous to say, no, we don't need it. Yeah, look, who in this country thinks that we have too much oversight of the big banks? Okay, other than the big banks,
Right.
So we have Dodd-Frank, and we should also have Glass-Steagall, and then not only Glass-Steagall, but also Citizens United, as we talked about last week. So when Hillary says corruption, what corruption? I take all this money. I'm not corrupt. Point to one example of me doing a quid pro quo corruption. These same so-called Democrats who would decry the Koch brothers and everyone else say, exactly, what corruption? There's no corruption. So it's Hillary Clinton's supporters that scare me more than anyone else, more than even Hillary, because they're willing to accept whatever she says and whatever she does because she's on our side.
Yep.
And that is, to me, the heart of authoritarianism.
Yes.
When you blindly support whoever your teammate is, okay? And as progressive and as critical thinkers, we should call out everyone. And Jimmy, I'm very happy and proud that you call out even Bernie Sanders, right? So Bernie's not a perfect human being. So when he does something that we disagree with, I want to call him out. I want to hold him to the fire and say, Bernie, that is not the right way. You should go in this direction. And Clinton supporters are either too cowardly, too stupid, or too craven to do that, and that's what scares me. That's the reason why I want to do this show.
What if 30,000 people download the new app?
We're good.
5 million.
Good. We scale on demand.
What if 38 million people download the app?
We're total heroes.
Scale on demand with the #1 company in cloud infrastructure.
And Clinton supporters are either too cowardly, too stupid, or too craven to do that, and that's what scares me. That's the reason why I want to do this show.
That I'm 100% with you on that. We gotta wrap up the free part of this, but not until I play this last part.
Her instincts are more on the go to war
And
interventionist spectrum. Yes, and
that guy just said her instincts are more to. He wanted to say warmonger, but he didn't want to say that, so he goes to go to war. He was stumbling. Chris Hayes tried to help him by. Did you hear what he said? He goes interventionist. He wanted to throw an Orwellian term into there to soften it up. What Hillary really is, which is a war hawk, a warmonger, which is what she is. And Chris goes, interventionist. It's not interventionist. She's a warmonger. That's what interventionist. What happened to your leg? I got intervened by a bomb. Here we go.
I hope I'm not going to sound sexist when I say this.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, that's always a good way to start. Keep going. Please continue.
As the first woman president, will she be under pressure, either self-imposed or from outside? To be more.
Yes, self-imposed particularly, I think, is in some ways the most important in that way, right? Like the conception of, and clearly was something they thought about a lot in
2008. I mean, that's why she didn't, reportedly why she never apologized for her Iraq vote in 2008.
The shoe that I really don't want to drop is the Kissinger endorsement, which everyone keeps floating. And I mean, again, I'm not going to say it's almost midnight. I will not go through the Kissinger record, but again, you can read a bunch about.
Go to my website.
And just odious and horrible. And again, it just the Kissinger thing says to me also. We keep talking about who's going to be held responsible, and what are people's reputations going to be after the Trump thing?
Right.
And it's like, Well, wait a second. Henry Kissinger, if he's going to be welcome in open arms and like, hey, we got the house, what that says is no one will be accountable. Won't be accountable for Trump, or the people that backed him, or the people that went along with all his odious things. Because if it's in the same cycle, we're saying, yeah,
Hillary Clinton is arguably a Democratic Richard Nixon.
Two quick things. That guy just said she's a Democratic Richard Nixon, and Joan Walsh doesn't say a goddamn thing, and neither does Chris Hayes. Chris Hayes, who wagged his finger and called Susan Sarandon nuts for not wanting to vote for Hillary Clinton, just let somebody on his own show refer to her as the Democratic Richard Nixon, and they're like, yeah, that's about right. But we're supposed to vote for her. And you're not pulling your hair out when Susan Sarandon was on your show. Why weren't you also doing cartwheels going, yes, I know, this is unbelievable. What can we do? What do we do to fix this? How do we get left with Hillary frickin' Clinton? How does this happen? Somebody we rejected 8 years ago is now getting rammed down. He didn't do that. He said, you're crazy. You're nuts. And now they're all sitting around going, oh yeah, she's the Democratic Richard Nixon. Oh, and she's hanging out with Henry Kissinger. It's horrible. She's horrible. It's all odious. He said odious. Joe Wall says, go to my website. You can read all about Henry Kissinger. Oh, so now you sons of bitches are okay with criticizing and calling out warmongers. All of a sudden, when it's guaranteed she's the nominee and she's going to be the next president, now we can talk freely. Now we're not sexist because you're doing it. Now because you're doing it, it's okay. I'm so glad that you finally got your head out of your collective asses and realized that Hillary Clinton is horrible.